Hello everyone, it's Erin, and today I'll be replicating this adorable piece of concept art made by Mary Blair for Disney's 1950 Cinderella. And I have my gouache, I've got some paintbrushes, a big flathead brush, water, paper towel, and we're going to start with the background as always. And this piece is special because I actually did this piece for a class that I'm teaching, a course that I do through Zoom, where we paint replicants. So at the very end of this video, you'll be able to see some work that the students did. We had so much fun doing this piece. It was actually a one-night piece. This was for a paint night, so a 3-hour class, but I am teaching a 6-week course where we meet for 2 hours every week and paint replicants like this one. So I'll put all the information in the description below. The next round starts soon, so hopefully some of you will be signing up, and let's get into this painting. So the background is sort of an olive color, but it has a little bit of cyan, so it's olive but sort of tilting towards the blue, and I've mixed together white, black, yellow, and cyan, and black and yellow make a really beautiful green, quite a natural sort of an olivey green, and that's because black has a blue bias. So when you add yellow to the blue bias black, you get green. And I think I might have gone a little more blue, a little more cyan than Mary did, but that's okay. And today I'm using my blow dryer to dry off the background, which worked really well. So if you're in a hurry or you're impatient like I am, you can go ahead and use a blow dryer, as long as your gouache isn't too thick, because then it can crack. I did a second coat of the background, and now I am mixing up a lighter tone or a lighter tint of this value, or of this hue, sorry. A lighter value of the hue, because I'm adding white. It's called a tint, and I'm mixing up this color for the tree. So you can see this tree here in the corner is quite gestural. It's, you know, it's a nice wiggly, I'm gonna say, not wiggly, but it, you know, it has like a nice sort of gesture to it. And I am noticing that, yeah, my background is a lot more cyan than Mary's was. Mary's was definitely more on the green side of things, but I think actually my students might have done a little bit better on getting that green. But this tree is going to take a few coats, and as always, I start with like a bit of a heavier pressure on my brush to get a thicker stroke, and then as I ease up on the pressure, I get those nice thinner lines. And as always, I'm using a number 6 brush for this kind of work because I am working on a small scale, which Mary did as well. Most concept artists do work on a smaller scale because they have to make a lot of these, so it just makes sense to make them smaller, and you're not using a lot of materials that way as well. And the number 6 brush is great because it picks up a lot of paint, but it also allows me to have that nice detailed line as well, so it has a very pointy tip. And now I'm making a shade. So I'm making a shade of the same hue for the shadow underneath of her dress. And I'm putting down the shadow first, which seems a little counterintuitive, a little scary to do, but it's actually, it makes sense because I paint the dress over top. So we're really working from the back forward. And because gouache is opaque, you can paint light colors over dark colors, and we'll have to do a whole bunch of coats of the white anyway. So now I'm taking a bit of that dark color and just going around the corners of the canvas to create a vignette. And now we're going to start to mix up the color of the cloak that the godmother is wearing. And this color, I'm going to tell you, it kicked my ass. I had such a hard time mixing this color. This is like the 4th attempt. You can see all over the palette here I've been trying to mix this color, because when I opened it up in Procreate, when I opened this image up and I, you know, grabbed that color to see its components, it's actually like a bright, almost fluorescent kind of lime green that is really desaturated, has a lot of gray mixed into it. And wow, it was so tough to mix. So I mixed basically a primary yellow, which is a cool yellow, with a cyan to make that really bright green. And then I added that to black and white. But then I thought, wow, like it does have some more blue in it that's a bit warmer of a blue. So I added a little bit of ultramarine and a little bit more cyan. And eventually, you can see here that I'm trying again. I eventually came up with a color that worked. And one of the trickiest things about this particular hue and value is that it's not far off from the background. So there's not a lot of contrast here. Gouache typically dries either darker or lighter depending on the color that you've mixed. And this is an example of when it dries a little bit, well, let's see. It sort of dries lighter. And I think that's because we've got white in it, and that white, and the extra chalk in acrylic gouache, so it did dry a little bit lighter, so the contrast is there. But when you first put it on, you're like, oh, there's not enough contrast. Doing the wand now, I did the shadow first, and I also did a shadow underneath her sleeve. I could have done that first, but this time I really just wanted to make sure the placement was correct. So I started with the sleeve first and then did the shadow after, did the shadow of the wand, and then did the wand in white. Now I'm mixing up a skin tone for her hand, and you can see I'm using red, yellow, white, and a little tiny bit of blue, a little bit of cyan in there to desaturate it so it's not as pink and it's a little more natural. And you can see the shape here is quite, it's very sort of a pronounced shape of her knuckles going up as she like holds the wand delicately, and then there's that little kind of I think it's like her thumb kind of jutting out. And now I'm just figuring out the placement for where I'm going to do Cinderella's head and her chest, basically all of the parts of her skin that are showing. And again, this may seem a little scary to do it this way, to start with the head and not put the hair on or draw this out first, but I'm just trusting the process of matching the shapes, like really focusing on the shapes that I'm seeing, and then the negative space in between. So how much space is there between the wand and the hair, and then imagining how thick the hair is or how wide that is, and then putting the head in its approximate position. And I'm not worrying about how rough this looks, like the actual texture of the gouache looks very streaky. I'm not going to go over that. I'm not going to overwork it because I could potentially just make it worse. I'm going to trust the fact that when I do a second coat and a third coat, after each coat dries, you put the next coat on, that it will smooth out. I am getting better at smoothing when using white, but it is difficult, it is challenging, so give yourself a break at first. You do get used to it. Consistency with gouache, of course, is probably the trickiest part of using gouache. And also look at your negative space. So this is super important. I'm really focusing on the shape between her arms and the skirt of her dress, like the bottom part of her dress or the back of her dress. And I'm really trying to match up those shapes. And I think for this one, I did a really great job. I don't always, but this piece, I think, turned out, it's one of the better replicants I've done on this channel as far as accuracy with shapes, and it really did help to focus on the negative space between her arms and the dress. I'm using the skin color that her skin color. I used that to draw out the shape of the skirt because I'm going to just cover it in white anyway. And now I'm doing a second coat on her head, her chest, and her arms, and you can see it's starting to get a little bit better. I smooth it out quickly before it dries, and when it dries I do another coat, and I think in total I ended up doing 4 coats of her the parts of her body that are showing. And she has these weird like claw-like hands that are so strange. I'll talk more about those later when we put the pink over top of them, because they've got these sort of pink points to them, which is really unusual, but I think I understand Mary's logic behind that. All right, let's do this dress. So I've mixed up my white gouache. I'm using primary white, which is a pretty straightforward white. It's not the most opaque, it's not the most transparent. I could have used a titanium white would have been a nice one too, because it's very bright, but this is working out. Again, not really worrying too much about there being streaks at this point, but I'm focusing more on the brush stroke for this, like really allowing myself to have these more gestural brush strokes and just enjoying the process of actually painting, rather than just filling in a space. And because I'm focusing on that kind of stroke, that brush stroke, I'm actually getting a nice little bit of dry brush on the outer edge of the skirt, which is in the original piece. You see these sort of dry brush effects that give the dress sort of a Gaussian feel, like it just has this sort of textural, you can really feel the fabric of the dress, right? If it's like what is it? My mom taught me this. Is it organza? No. Taffeta? Sorry to all of you who know fabrics, but anyway, it gives it a fabricy feel. And here I am going over it with a second coat. Now, each coat is pretty much the same consistency. When you're using gouache, you want to add a little bit of water at a time, just a tiny bit of water at a time, until you get it to that creamy, melted ice cream consistency that we're always talking about. And then you're going to have to do many coats. So this dress took me, I think in total I did 4 or 5 coats. I think I did 5. I did 4, and then I did some touch-ups with a 5th coat. And I mean, that's just the way it goes. That's why you go through so much white when you use gouache, because not only are you mixing it in with many, many colors, especially when you're doing a Mary Blair piece, because many of her colors are tonal. Same with Ivander. A lot of these artists were using a gray as a base, and then you mix your color into it. Now, there is an argument that their pieces look like that because they've been around for, 60, 70 years now or longer. So, well, maybe not longer, but around, 60, 70 years old, these pieces, some of them. So, they have obviously diminished over time, but we still want to get the right kind of saturation. And so a lot of the time it's a tonal color, which means that it has gray mixed in with it. Okay, doing some of these magic, the magic fairy dust. The trick here is to make sure that my paintbrush is loaded. I've sort of spun my brush, like I call it the squeegee method, but I've sort of rolled my brush so that the paint has been squeegeed to the tip. And then I try to hold my brush like straight up and down so that it doesn't make a line, it makes a dot. Now we're going to mix up, I believe I'm doing the peachy color for the dress, but also I'm going to do her hair. That's what we're doing next, is we're doing her hair. And her hair goes through a few changes here. I start with this yellow. I'm not using primary yellow. This is a warm yellow. If you're using Holbein gouache, it's just a yellow. And I mixed it with white, but then I'm so sorry, I cut out that one part of the video where you see me painting it, but here I am painting it in, again, doing a second coat after the first coat completely dried, because you don't want to pick up paint. But then I changed the color a little bit. I put a tiny, tiny bit of red, a warm red, and a tiny bit of black in with the mix so that it has a slightly more natural blonde than a yellow, and it also has a bit more contrast with the skin. But it's such a minor change. You can barely tell, but those little minor differences can make a big difference overall, especially when it comes to contrast. Contrast is so important. A really great trick, if you're ever worried about whether or not your piece of art has enough contrast, is take a look at it in black and white. Photograph it, look at it in black and white, and see if you can actually tell the difference between different objects or elements in the piece. And yeah, we like contrast. We like seeing things with contrast. And so sometimes pumping up colors or making them a bit darker or brighter is necessary just to create that contrast that we like so much. Okay, mixing up the peachy pink color for the dry brush effect on her dress. So because we're doing dry brush, I'm getting rid of most of the excess paint off the brush, and I actually wipe it off a few times. I separate the bristles and make sure it's really, really dry. And then super lightly, I am going so lightly that my brush is basically just touching the texture, because the gouache isn't perfectly smooth, right? That white is not perfectly smooth. So if I go light enough with my brush, if my pressure is really, really, really light, then it's just going to pick up the texture. And I think we call this scumbling, and it creates that nice dry brush texture. Okay, I've added a little bit more red and a tiny, tiny bit of black, sort of making a bit of more of a punchy pink color to do the stars and her cheeks, her little cheeks, just tiny little dots on her lips. Oh yeah, her lips, we'll do them after because I have to add a bit more black, but we're going to do her weird pointy pink hands now. And what I think is happening here is I think that Mary's logic behind these weird pink claw hands is that she's in the middle of a transformation, right? Her dress is being transformed to like the rags, or not the rags, but the dress that had been ripped apart. You know, her stepsisters had ripped apart her dress. So now she's transforming from that ripped up dress into this beautiful magical gown. And so this is in the middle of that transformation. And so her hands are also transforming. That's what I think. And it's magic. The pink represents this sort of magic. And now we're doing these little magical stars. And these, again, look at this. I'm using a number 6. So you'd think that would be too big. But in fact, the tip on this is so nice and fine. It's even better than the number 2 brush that I have. So as always, I recommend getting a really great number 6 brush, round brush. And the stars, I kind of do little strokes, and I'm very light, again, super light on the pressure. And the more of them that I do, the more confidence I build, and I get a little bit quicker. But it's usually a few strokes just so that we can get a bit more paint down so that they're not as transparent. I don't want to go over them again if I can help it, because often when you go over details like this, you kind of ruin it. You make them clunky, thicker. I don't want to do that. So I really want to make sure that I get those stars down the first try. So making sure I go back and reload my brush when needed, twist the brush so that it's got a nice fine point, and then sort of going over it again right away instead of letting it dry and then doing it again, just so that I can get into that rhythmic gesture. And hopefully that makes sense. But there it is, the magic. Ooh, so pretty. I love this dress. This dress is so classic. It's funny though, because excuse me, I think this dress has become over time like a very famous sort of choice for wedding dresses, but when you see it in real life on people, it looks, I think it looks kind of ridiculous. I think it's a much better illustrated dress than a real dress. I don't know, does anyone else have any thoughts on that? Okay, face is tough. I end up sort of reworking her right eye looks a little funky, and so I rework it. But yeah, just go for it quickly. Don't overthink it. There's not much to say. I do have a face video that I'm working on, so that'll come out at some point. My students that join the course that I teach, the 6-week course that I mentioned earlier, they get a video, a tutorial that's included on faces. But there we go. Booped her nose, take off the tape, and she's done. Put a fork in her. No, don't. Don't do that. Okay, all done. Let's take a look at some of the student work from my course. So first off, we've got very cute. Heather did a great job. Love the background. And look at that cloak. Perfect color. And Melissa's is adorable. I also love the color and the texture on the dress. And then we've got Tracy's, which I love. The hair and the stars turned out so good. And that's it. So go watch Cinderella, and I'll see y'all again soon. Bye.